Every content creator, every editor, anybody who works constantly with a keyboard, a mouse, and a desktop is on the search nonstop for ways to improve efficiency, to generate some shortcuts, and to cut down on those day-long edit sessions, even if you're saving just a little bit of time along the way. That's why today on the Tech Tips, I am excited to show you what's inside this box. It's called the Loupedeck CT. And my friends, not only is this going to save you some time, it might also save you some sanity. Let's take a look. Hi friends, welcome into Bill's Tech Tips. Bill Hobson here, and right at the very beginning, I want to invite you to subscribe to our channel for our tech tip today. I am excited to introduce to you the Loupedeck CT. I did not receive this for free. I'm not paid to review it. In fact, I bought the thing. I paid for it, and it's turned out to be one of the best investments or purchases that I've made in a very long time. Why is that? Because the Loupedeck CT has improved my editing efficiency in every program, everything that I do. Now, this Loupedeck CT is customizable for everything you do in every program. It's wild. So if you take a look at the interface of the CT, I just want you to take a quick glimpse of it here, and then we'll come back to this in a little while. Because for every program you use it with, there's a different interface, and it's all completely and totally customizable to your preferences. This is set up in the ways you choose so that it's the most convenient for you're left-handed or right-handed, what you want this device to do in this particular program, what you like it to do for another program. You can set up all of your shortcuts, and while you're looking at the primary screen in front of you now, you should also know that there are an infinite number of screens that swipe through, and you can, if you want to, set them up 5, 6, 7, 8 screens deep in each program so that everything that you normally would have to do through a complicated keyboard maneuver is done with the touch of one button in the Loupedeck. That's one of the reasons that I love it. So let me stop talking about it and show you some of it here as we turn our attention to what's happening on the screen. I'm doing the cover imagery for our podcast called the Four Golfers Network. Now, obviously this one's already done, so let me just do a couple of things in shorthand style to show you what I've set up already with the Loupedeck that helps make life simpler for me. One of the things is in Photoshop, sometimes you open up a file and it comes up this big, and obviously you don't want to work with it that way. So I've set up a button to just be a zoom button, and I can dial this to increase, decrease the size of the image. Why does that matter? Well, because if I come into here, and if it were actually a finer and more detailed piece of graphic, I would want to have a better look at the fine details. Just one example. Some of the basics. You all know Control-C, Control-V, Control-X for cut and copy and paste. What if you could cut down on all of that manipulation of your keyboard and instead just set up some shortcuts on the Loupedeck, so copy and paste, and all of a sudden you've got your other version right there next to you. How about the resizing, where you have to normally come over, and again, I'm a PC user, so those of you who are in Apple land, you understand Command and Control are different. But one of the things we're frequently doing is resizing things, and it's Control-T to bring up the bounding box. Why don't we just set up a bounding box shortcut? So that now with one button, I've got all that done. I want to get out of it, I want to accept it, I want to copy it, I want to take it over somewhere else. It's all done right in here, really, really simply. In fact, one of the things that has been the most time-consuming for me, because I frequently do similar projects in different ways, right, is taking a layer style. Normally, you're coming over to your layer, you're right-clicking on it, you're copying layer style, you're having to paste it somewhere else. Set up a shortcut in the Loupedeck and come over and hit copy layer style, take that anywhere else, hit paste layer style, and it's automatically applied for you. That is so convenient and so nice to have happen in the blink of an eye without the back and forth, without the multiple pushing of the control and the other buttons. You've taken the time to set all those things up. Now, as you can tell, and by the way, there are far more advanced Photoshop users than me. I am not here doing a Photoshop tutorial, as you've noticed. I know the basics. I'm decent at it. I'm not great at it. But one of the things that I have appreciated about this is that I've been able to configure this Loupedeck to my specifications, to my preferences. Now, how do you do that? Well, you come back to the interface, and if there's an effect that is chosen that you wish was different, you literally drag and drop from over in this panel over to the Loupedeck. Let me go down the line a little bit here so I don't actually disrupt something that I kind of like having where it is. All right, I'll override this one. So if I wanted to have where it currently says fill, and I wanted to have that be something different, I wanted that to be brush related, I literally can just come and grab reset brush opacity button, drag it up here, drop it in here, and watch how fast it changes on the Loupedeck interface. I now have a new button right there. That's how easily this happens, and it happens for all of these dials, and it happens for all of these main buttons, and it happens for everything on here, including this spin wheel. And this wheel can be configured to do so many different things. We'll show you that here in a different program. Let me close out of Photoshop now that you've seen a really quick example of how that all works. I don't want to save those things and mess it up. Let's come over into Audition. I'm editing a podcast. This is our Four Golfers podcast,
where we celebrate the greatest game on earth.
That's a little bit of the beginning of it, and then throughout the course of the interview that I did with golf course architect Tom Doak, we've got a few different elements. This is a very simple timeline example of what we're doing now in Audition. I just want you to see how all this works. By the way, I didn't make a point of this when I switched programs, but let me do this for you. I want you to keep your eye on the main screen, the big monitor, as well as the Loupedeck, because when you change programs, the Loupedeck changes with you. That to me is powerful, and it makes life so much easier. You don't have to go through and tell the Loupedeck, hey, now I'm working in Audition, and then, hey, I want to go work on the website, so open up my Windows interface. It changes with you. So let's go back into Audition for a minute. And again, I'm going to kind of do a Audition 101 level concept here. I'm not going to go deep into it, but I want you to understand a few things. In this program, and probably true in Premiere as well, some of the most time-consuming, complicated maneuvers have to do with positioning on the timeline, where you're trying to click in the right spot. You've got to drag the little tiny blue thing around, and you're just trying to figure out where to put it. Now we have this wheel on the Loupedeck where I can set it up to jog as I want it to. I can zoom in as I was doing in the other program a moment ago. I can zoom in, I can set that up so that on my timeline I can make it go wherever I want it to, and now I've got this fine-tune adjustment ability to come and grab something, to hone in on where I'm going to make the cut, and when I'm ready to make the cut, I can simply choose the button that I've set up called Split, and I can split the clip that I've selected so that it's ready to go. I can still move it with my mouse. What if I wanted to split that thing and copy it and paste it? Okay, let's do that. We're going to come over here. We're going to grab this clip, copy, and maybe if I hit the right button, that would be helpful. I'm going to hit this. I'm going to go copy, and we're going to paste it over here. Sometimes I forget. This is actually I'm glad that happened, actually, even though it's a little bit embarrassing. I want you to understand that when you're opening multiple programs and editing in a bunch of them all at once, it is possible to kind of lose track of which buttons you've assigned to which. It would be wise on all of our parts to assign the same functions, generally speaking, throughout all programs. So I was hitting a button that in Audition is actually serving the purpose of what? Editing and track states and mixers, and I was using it as copy and paste because in the other programs that's what it's for. But I digress. So copy and paste. That's a good example of what's happening on this wheel, because in Audition I have set up on this wheel the ability to play. So here we go. Pause. You see the scissors here for cut. There's cut. To paste, there's paste, and to copy. I like having all these things in one place. I can group my clips. I can deal with the clip gain if I want to touch on that. We can switch back and forth between multi-track and waveform editing. Everything that you're used to doing in keyboard land, you can now put into the Loupedeck CT. It is so powerful. It is so handy to be able to just not have to search around for how did I do this? How do I do that? How do I get precise? How can I get tight in there without having to go up and drag the stupid little box up here and fine tune adjust it? I can do it one click at a time. I can go as far out, I can go as far in as I want to, and on and on and on go the examples, right? So there is our look inside of Audition. And again, I'm trying to fly through these and give you a good feel for everything. And now we come to Premiere. Premiere, of course, is a very, very robust editing program. It's the industry standard as far as I'm concerned. And it also involves an incredible amount of time-consuming options that if you're not on top of your game, you really can lose an entire day just trying to get the little things right. A lot of us are used to getting the big things and putting them in place and manipulating, and you get your effects in here, your effects in there. But when it comes down to some of the other aspects of editing, having the Loupedeck CT has been such a powerful game changer. Again, let me go back into the interface, into Premiere. To remind you again, there's an infinite number of things that you can do. You see these screens here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not the limitation. The list will go on and on. You can add as many new pages as you want, and you can have each page serve the purposes that you want. So now, for instance, in Premiere, I've done some things differently than what it came with by default. I have set up in here my copy button to be number 1, my paste button to be number 2, but as is very, very commonly used in Premiere, the paste attributes function is something you're using a lot to take the attributes of one clip and apply them to another clip. So you're going to hit copy with 1. In my case, you're going to hit copy with 1, then you'll come over here and you'll hit paste attributes, and then that box will come up. In this case, I certainly wouldn't want that to be the end result. And that's why I have undo right next to it. So I can just undo that, I can undo that function, and we're good to go. What if I want to just play through a little bit? Again, back here on the wheel, I've configured the wheel to let me play. Followed by the phrase, it's a real. And also to jog. However, you can also swipe on the wheel itself and move from jogging, which is what we've demonstrated for you here, to panning a full window at a time and moving you in larger sequences, larger chunks. You want to select a clip and we go back home. I've put this up arrow as my return to home. You want to select a clip. Let's hit this, and now we're going to go grab one clip back at a time. And again, these aren't the things that came pre-configured with in this setup. I've customized them, and that's part of the beauty of what the Loupedeck CT lets you do. One last stop on the interface, and I could go for a very long time on all of this, but I want to go to just Windows default. Your normal everyday, you're getting started with cranking things up for the day and trying to figure out what you're going to accomplish, what you're going to do. You've got a couple documents that you want to work with. You're trying to figure out what the day is going to hold. I'm going to pop this one open for a second. This is our master podcast schedule. So now, let me move that over to this side. I've set up a button on the Loupedeck to move things to one side of the screen or the other because I love having a giant monitor. And so now here's what we've got. We've got the podcast schedule over here. We've got the podcast posting interface on our 4 Golfers network over here. And in another tab, I have opened up the details from the podcast that I was talking to you about because I want to show you a brief example of how in Windows the Loupedeck is a game changer as well. So here we go. Control A is select all, right? You know that. What if we just set up a button for select all? We have another one for copy, and I want to take that same title over into my WordPress site. I want to paste it in here. I'm done. What if I didn't want to click between windows? I just wanted to move between windows. Well, I hit a button that says next, and I've set up a thing that advances. This is my own shortcut that advances between windows. So now I'm going to come into the description for the podcast as it reads in my host. I'm going to select all. I'm going to copy. I'm going to hit next window. I'm going to come over into here, and I'm going to hit paste. Meanwhile, I'm going to come over into the document where I want to take the information that I have. I'm going to copy that. I just want to paste it over here for no apparent reason and really no logical reason. I realize I've made a mistake. I'm going to undo. I'm going to come over here. I can also save within the program. I can save as. I've set up this button as save as. And everything, I guess my point is everything that I've tried to do for years through the keyboard shortcuts, I now can set up to be at a one-touch availability through the Loupedeck CT. Have a great day. Thanks for being part of Bill's Tech Tips.